Hello, Libra. Thank you so much, as always, you guys, for being here, and a very safe and happy holidays to you all. Okay, Libra, so looking at your third week of December, you pulled new life, release, and listen to your body. This very much is a message of whatever you're hanging on to. It may be physically affecting you, but it also may be preventing you from self-care, right? So there's a need to let go of that. Whatever you've been dwelling on, this talks about releasing, what you've been dwelling on in the past. But this is all because you don't want to drag this into the new life and the new experience that you're going to be having. You're going through a rebirth. But, there's a little bit of a scary part here because new life specifically talks about inexperience. So not only are we talking about life renewing itself, the rebirth and having a brand new experience of the new beginning, it's saying that you may have to admit that you may not know something. It says you are at the beginning of things and haven't yet hit your stride. Be immersed in the newness of it all and don't try to rush the learning process. New life has its own timetable for maturity. And then it says, be here now. Life loves you. And I love that that's there. It's almost like a reminder that you may need, right? And I say that because of release. But listen to your body. It says, take care of whatever you are sensing in your body, just as you would take care of a beloved friend. If you need to breathe deeply, eat something, take a momentary break, or anything else, please do so now. You have developed a habit of allowing everything else to take precedence over your own needs. Doing so disconnects you from the body. And that may be, this feeling of blame, though, too, because release is talking about letting go of personal responsibility and blame in a situation where it may not be yours to carry. So for those of you who are dealing with this, you're going to know because you can feel the effects on your body. It very much reminds me of, the new information that's coming out on how dealing with difficult situations, emotional abuse, narcissistic abuse, something traumatic can have an effect on the body, right? Like there's the studies that were done on how autoimmune disease could be connected to narcissistic abuse. Whatever kind of blame that you're holding on to, it's not necessary to carry that through into this new experience. But it almost feels like what's happening is that you may be moving into a part of your life where you're looking at it going, yeah, but when is the next shoe going to drop, right? Like when is something bad going to pop up again? Because you may be experiencing happiness that you haven't in a while. Like it's all for, your own personal growth, but I feel like it's like finally getting what you've been asking for. And we all are asking for the same thing, and that's happiness and peace, right? Yeah, you're overall the Ace of Wands. Perfect, right? So there's that new beginning, but, for better or for worse, it's what you do with it. But passion being ignited with the Ace of Wands and the want to act, which is good, right? A lot of times we tend to forget that very important part of manifestation where we do have to take action. Not forced, but inspired, right? But this is all about your new beginning. The Three of Wands in the past, so you may have been waiting for something. And this may be about it finally coming through. For others of you, the Three of Wands very much has this feeling for me where it's like finally being open to different experiences, like your awareness of other, available pathways being open to you. But this very much could be about you just waiting for something to come in, for you to be able to, take advantage of something new. In the present, the King of Cups, and speaking about maturity, right? The King of Cups here, we're talking about emotional maturity. But there's, the love and the support that comes through with that and the emotional understanding. So we may be talking about somebody finally coming through for you that may be providing what you have been missing emotionally, if that makes sense. And I only say that because I'm looking back at the oracle cards. For some of you, this may be the beginning of a new relationship, whatever that looks like. For some of you, you may have been waiting for, somebody to come into your life or to come back. But there's love attached there with the King of Cups, right? Future conditions, Scorpio, and death. So this may completely change things for you in a way where you're able to finally let go of past baggage, so to speak, right? So with death, we're talking about the end of a way of being and transformation happening for you. But that may be facilitated by a person who, loves you and supports you emotionally. But by releasing old things and the past, this is what opens the door for a new beginning here. But it's interesting that it's death coming through, right? Like, we're never going to go through that again. So your best path to follow, temperance, being patient. Being patient with how things unfold. But there's also the message of moderation, right? But peace and balance. But it's interesting because you come into this waiting and your advice is to continue to wait patiently. But the thing is here's what I feel like. Don't rush things. That's what I want to say. Don't rush anything. That may be something that you have done before. And it may have caused things to come to endings where, it's enough now. Like, you're changed. I feel like with death, in speaking of the King of Cups, when it comes to emotional maturity, whatever you have dealt with connections with other people, like if you've been so accustomed to rushing right into a relationship, you're not doing that anymore, because whatever you've experienced has changed you. But it's almost like the new beginning and the new opportunity is presenting itself in the same way that you're used to seeing, if that makes sense. It's like it feels the same way. And it's because of that you may have really rushed into situations without thinking about, how it's going to affect you or how things end. But you're handling it differently. But not rushing anything and being patient with the situation. That's interesting to me. There's the connection right there. So in your environment, the Queen of Wands, and again, we're talking about focus that you may have on another person. With the Queen of Wands, you're talking about attraction and passion, and you have this Ace of Wands. For some of you, it's the emotional connection that you're having with somebody that is on a more mature level that I think is bringing out the best in you. Now, for others of you, it's just something has finally come through for you. There has been a lot of growth emotionally, and there's this maturity and wisdom that's coming through, and it's changing the way that you go after things. Like, you're a different person because of your experiences, and there's still this reminder of don't rush anything. Just be patient with how things unfold and maintain inner harmony and balance and peace, right? But with the Queen of Wands here, it's like refining yourself in the way that you manage your passions and how you follow that, right? But something or someone that you have a passion for, I think, finally shows up. Oh, yeah. Your hopes and your fears, the Knight of Cups. So this is either hoping that if you are extending your own emotions, that they're being accepted, or you're hoping for somebody else to reach out. You know, here is how I feel. I would like to share that with you. That's the Knight of Cups, right? Following, you know, where your heart is leading you and not being naive about the situation. But I like that there because it's like wanting to exchange that kind of communication, but with the intention to act on it, you know, because the Knights, it's the action, right? But I love everything that's happening here. So for those of you who are finally getting what you've been waiting for, you know, just make sure that you're not carrying any garbage in with you. But I feel like you're not doing that, especially with death being there. Like, I don't see this as like an ending to an opportunity to begin things anew. I think that this is just you changing the way that you go after a new opportunity, especially if it's connected to love or to somebody in particular where there's a lot of, you know, emotions involved. And then coming out strength. Finding the strength to have the patience to just let things unfold, right? And let the passion build, so to speak. This temperance to me in this situation kind of feels like the one from the Tarot of Sexual Magic, right? Letting the passion build so that you're not, you know, burning it out right away. But strength though, right? So some of you may still be waiting to kind of get that kind of communication that you're wanting from somebody, where there's this attraction and this emotional kind of like connection with. It's not like the Two of Cups where we're talking about the type of connection you have. It's just there. But, you know, you're showing up as two very different people. And that may be due to past experiences, right? But oh boy, the Nine of Swords. The Three of Cups, so this may be happening through a friend group. But again, support, right? And then the Page of Pentacles, which is perfect here because you're taking what new information that you've gained and you're using it to grow the situation, right? How do we make more of this? How do we make this grow? But it requires learning. But that, I think, you know, is coming from the experiences that you and another person had. For some of you, this could be connecting with a person, and it could be like on a friend level with the Three of Cups here, and there's this exchange that's going on, but there may be the hope that it grows into something more, if that makes sense. The Nine of Swords, so fear and anxiety, right? And having the ability to, you know, hold yourself back from thinking about bad past situations, the worst case scenario, things like that. For some of you, it's straight up this like fear that what you're wanting to come in is not going to show up the way that you're wanting it to. But strength is saying just hang in there, right? Like you don't need to force this to happen. And your fears and your anxieties may have been getting, you know, the better of you. But this could also be the baggage that we're talking about that you need to release. And it's just your mind, you know, constantly replaying all of the painful situations that you've been through that have left you in a place of wanting something different to come in, right? But I feel like that's exactly what's happening. But there's still very much this feeling of waiting for something deeper to come through, and it's causing you to change the way, like I said, that you know, go after this, right? We don't want to burn this out, but I feel like there's this fear that you may be getting involved with a situation where somebody doesn't exactly feel the same because of this being hopes and fears, right? But again, with the Three of Cups, it's a group of people, but there's also the emotional support that's coming through that's bringing out the best side of you. And it may be, you know, creating this feeling of confidence and being able to have a very different experience than what you're used to. Even though the opportunity is showing up the way that, you know, you recognize it's familiar, is what I feel like. But with the Page of Pentacles, right, like taking advantage of the opportunity, the offer, right? The offer may be there, the situation can grow, but it may be like a learning process. Now, you know, for others of you, getting away from the relationship stuff, this could just be finally, you know, having somebody support you through making necessary changes in your life to, you know, experience something better. It's like they understand and see what your fears and anxieties are based on your past experiences, what you're wanting to come through. There's the support there. But it may be that, you know, somebody's giving you the information that you need to take advantage of something. You know, but either way here, I'm really getting this feeling of I really hope that they feel the same way. You know, and wanting to kind of like extend that, hoping that, you know, it's received well if you're the one extending it, or that somebody else is reaching out to you. Because the feelings for you, I think, are already there. But it's interesting because of new life and looking at the Three of Wands. It's like what you didn't think could happen for you may be showing up unexpectedly. Integration, and that's going to have to do with, you know, painful baggage that you may be carrying. Earth, and that's the way to do it. And then be open. So when we're looking at Earth, we're talking about like literally connecting to nature and the effect that it has on the human mind, right? Like when you go and just sit outside for a minute and you're listening to the noises and you're smelling the air and you're, you know, looking at the trees, whatever, it takes you out of that persistent focus that you may have on everything that is defining who you are, right? All the experiences, all of the nonsense, all of, you know, the static outside noise. By connecting in that way, there's the ability to better integrate the difficult things that you've experienced so that you can be open to finally having something coming in that you've been waiting for. And I like that this one's showing up, but, you know, at the same time, there's a part of me that wants to bitch and complain because it's like, it's not a good time for that. It's cold outside, dude, right? Like, grounding, go deep and explore your roots. And then breaking trail, a breakthrough is at hand. When I look at grounding, it's really about, you know, what seeds you have planted that have taken root in your life. What is it that grounds you? And when you have a better understanding of that and you're able to change that, you know, and transform the way that, you know, you handle things and handle new situations, that's what creates the breakthrough. But I love the message. I just think that, you know, if the universe is finally answering you and what you've been desiring, just be aware of the things that you may be dragging with you into that. Because you don't want it to end in a way where it changes you in a negative way, right? With death, we're talking about you rising from the ashes, right? But I feel like this is really about you getting something that you've been wanting, and it's like finally the universe is answering you. But you still got to do some inner work, though.